to you. Thank you, KK sir, for the wonderful meditation and also for opening up today's English session. Yeah, today topic for our thought is winning over enmity. When we say the word enmity, why it is broadened for today's discussion, I intentionally did from enemies up to enmity. The reason is when we talk about the word enemies, right after spelling it, we used to tell that I don't have any enemies, right? That is what immediate resistance will come from majority of the people, because we may not realize it, or we may not be able to accept that, or we may not be able to understand that also, why that enmity is there between people, or is it really existing or no. So on that confusion, when we say enemies, most of us will say that I don't have any enemies and I am maintaining cordial relationship with all people around me. So there is no enemies. This is what our general feeling will be, right, for majority of the people. When we say the broadened theme from the word enemy up to enmity, when we go beyond expanding it from a person, it is a kind of emotional quality, right? It can be, for a clear understanding, we can replace that by explaining using that word as hatred also. So hatred is a kind of feeling which is being expressed between people in some situations due to some other reason or circumstances or events which are happening, which are disliked by our own inner self, and it will be expressed as a hatred feeling instantly. Once that hatred is being grown further, so that relationship will be gradually getting spoiled, which will be converting as enemy, right? So even we may not express hatred on others, but some other people, whoever interacting with us, they may have some kind of hatred feeling on us also, without we realize that also. So that is the reason we need to understand the quality of this, the nature of this quality, which is enmity, and then we will be able to handle positively, right? That is what we are going to discuss in today's topic of discussion for the next half an hour or so. Okay, so now how is it being expressed between people? When we agree that it is a kind of feeling which is common with people, and it could be expressed in some certain situations, right? So when you see a person by physical appearance itself, the hatred might be getting expressed because of the color of the person, or because of the way he dressed up, or because of the country he belonged to, various reasons, right? Based on different people, different opinion, or different preconceived ideas about the people will be with any other person. So when person to person interaction is happening, without even being talked, by physical appearance, the hatred could be expressed between people, right? Just we are talking about in general, we are not talking particularly about any particular person. We are just talking about how the hatred is being expressed between people. So there's one way of the expression being seen in around us, right? Yeah, the next one is a bit dangerous, right? They may be talking nicely to us, but we don't know what is hiding within them. They may be having a different feeling which is suppressed and controlled with their inner self, but they are expressing with a positive approach to us. But this is also being maintained by some of the people. The hatred will be kept hidden and they may not express instantly, but they will be waiting for an occasion to express it. So the next category could be like some of the natural enemies. We used to say that, right? They are natural enemies. For understanding this category, we may relate to some particular departments in some of the organization. If you see a particular the departments, these two departments will not go harmonious at all in any of the issues. When the issues are popping up, the discussion started, both of them will be always expressing the hatred between them. So this will be seen by some of us in some of the situations around us. So that is what the next category belong to. And some cases, when we are trying to extend our helping hands to others, but they may be suppressing or they may have some kind of hatred on us, we don't know, we cannot understand the reason. There could be some other categories which we talked earlier also, maybe because of that. So without even any fault from our side, people may express their hatred, feelings, the enmity to ourselves. So these are the general categories we are seeing around us in which the hatred or enmity is being expressed. So by this we can easily understand, right, the enmity or enemies is there for everyone. We may not realize or we may not understand that properly, but it is there in today's society. That's what I was trying to express through these points. So the next step is about with whom we are expressing. Personally, when we see like every one of us, probably by seeing those categories, we may be able to relate to ourselves, right? There could be some possible situations in which we might be expressing the hatred feeling also. We don't know, when we say enemies, it's not like kind of fighting violently by expressing the harsh words and hours together, scolding or using some weapons and attacking. That is not the level we are talking about. Even the expressing the hatred feeling, that is the first step of enmity, right? So by seeing the categories which were shared earlier, we may relate to some of our situations, our own situations in our day-to-day life. We may be expressing those in our daily life, right? So can we try to relate with whom we are expressing in our personal life and how frequently that is happening? It is in general, not about being in Vedatriyan path or before meditation, after meditation. Leaving all those facts, we will just try to relate in general about human being or generally people around us, how it is happening with them and how frequently it is happening. When we are trying to analyze that, mostly it is being expressed by our close relatives, our near and dear ones who are living with us, right? That is what the first step we used to say. Whenever we see a situation which is not suiting with our own need, or when our own interests are not respected and not accepted by others, we used to get this kind of feelings within us, right? That hatred feeling will be growing inside, and then it will be expressed at some moment of time with the spouse. That is what the first common relationship in which it's being expressed by most of us. That can be seen by us also in our day-to-day life, right? So in the next one, at least the first category, we are talking about the grown-up adults, right? So we may not be able to control only. So we know that it should not be, but we couldn't control and it will be expressed. But when you talk about children between siblings, so they may not be able to understand the concept also, right? So that is the reason it is very common to see this hatred feeling or enmity between the siblings also in home. So whenever their interests or their common goals are not supported or accepted by other sibling or even with parent, they used to get this kind of hatred feeling and they may end up in expressing it, right? So the next one is official life. When you go to the office with official colleague, it's very common. Again, when your own point is not accepted by other colleagues, and when you are trying to show up your power, or when you are trying to force your ideas, it can become like kind of hatred feeling from the opponent, or the same will be happening within us also by seeing the same similar approach from others. When that is seen, we will be having a hatred feeling that could be expressed with the official colleagues also. Then again, of course, it is like a social friends. When you go as friends or a group of people or neighbors, when we are talking about any kind of social group, so this will be happening, right? One group has a particular interest and the other group may not be accepting it. So that is the reason it may create this kind of argument or enmity expressed between them. Okay, even though I keep telling that, right, we all know that this is a negative quality and that should not be helping at all in any way. When we are talking about a harmonious relationship with any of these close, near and dear ones, and also the official life, when we are talking about official colleagues, we all know that it is not okay to have this feeling, right? But in spite of that, why we couldn't change that? Why it is being expressed? When we are trying to analyze on that part a little bit, so it is it is a kind of emotions, right? So there are several kind of emotions within human being. Some are positive, some are negative. So emotions keep occurring within our physical body, right? So when you are trying to analyze the emotions part, why that is happening and in what situation the different type of emotions are being emanated from a person. So the scientific world is also proving that the different hormones, which are commonly called as biochemicals, right? So the different hormones are being secreted by different body parts within our physical body, and those hormones are responsible for all these kind of emotions. So when we talk about this hatred or enmity, there is one interesting fact. The hormone which is responsible for this, that is what the recent medical research is proving, that there is one hormone, oxytocin. So that hormone is responsible for these kind of feelings in human being. Interestingly, the same hormone is initially when oxytocin is found, the medical field was naming that as a love hormone. Okay, so that is the hormone the first hormone which is starting right from the childbirth onwards. So the bonding between mother and child is because of this hormone, and that much level of love is seen in that hormone. That is what they were talking about. So as we see anything over or anything gone beyond the level will become opposite, right? So the same thing happened with this hormone also, which is very recently proven, and it's surprisingly shared by the medical literatures, telling that the oxytocin, the same love hormone, is responsible for the hatred also. Because what is happening in our human body, within the body, when this hormone, when it is being accumulated more and more, or when it is accepted more by the body, so that will be creating like kind of groupism between people. So immediately we will try to see a similar kind of people and try to move only with similar kind of people and become friends only with selected people and ignoring others. And also the opposite groups, whenever there is some similar interest is not seen, immediately this hormone is creating a barrier between them and creating a disharmony between them without even the realization of our inner self. So it is like spontaneously happening within our external layer of the mind itself. So that is the reason this is very difficult to control or manage, and it's being commonly expressed by the people, and it is year long of, even after a year long of practices, people couldn't come out of this enmity, right? Okay, so far we are talking about the individual self, right? Let's expand it a little bit in the current world. So seeing a society which is consisting of many number of individuals, right? So we talked about the individuals, how it's being expressed. So when a group of people becoming like a society, we can say like a city where we are living. So how the people are expressing this, or even expanding it further, country level, world level, when we see this theme, how it's being handled. We all know that again, yeah, like an individual, every countries or every societies, every city administrators, they all know that the enmity will not support in any way positively. So there should be no enmity. That is a policy being kept as a basis. But practically, if you see, whenever there is some situational needs or whatever be the conditions, countries are trying to show their power, right? Again, it's not like meaning any particular country. It is in general, right? It is a fact in this world today. Also, we are seeing different countries are trying to show this kind of, trying to express this kind of enmity due to some reason, from the same way what we were seeing in the individual level. So by all this discussion, we feel that there should be some requirement, right? We need to have some kind of work to be done. I mean to say, we need some kind of solution to come out of this enmity or hatred being expressed between people, or between the societies, or between the countries in this world. Because we all understand that clearly, right? It will create more and more negativity around us, and more separation will happen, more and more severe negative things will be happening to all the human beings, which will be ending up with affecting all of us, right? So that is the reason we are trying to understand clearly that we need to do something for this. So what can be done? There are some common approach, right? Again, I'm telling that before we come to this era, there are numerous years of life seen by this world. So the human being is going through with several kind of lifestyles and several number of years passed by also. So there are many kind of approach taken by the people to come out of this, right? How to win the enmity. When we talk about that, immediately majority or almost all of the concepts are telling that it should be replaced with the loveness, right? So when you are talking about removing hatred, so we have to fill it with the love. In the sense, it is like a true love. When you increase that, it will be creating more harmony, and it can suppress the feeling of that hatred, and you can get a balance between the hormone which we talked earlier also. So by having that balance, we will be able to achieve this. That is what the general fact or general approach followed by many of the people earlier, right? So to understand this approach, just I thought of sharing a small story about two farmers in a village. Both of them are neighbors. So one of that guy, he's a very good positive person. He has a small piece of land, and he's a hard worker. So due to his consistent hard work, he used to make good results with his farm, and he's living happily. And he has a very good nature to help other people. Particularly when somebody is sick in any of the family, he used to extend his help in any form, like financial help or physical help, or getting some medicine, or talking to them about understanding the disease and how to come out of it. So this kind of efforts he used to maintain with all situations. So people like him, and almost he was living a very good positive life in that village. So the neighbor, who is the other farmer, he has a piece of land which is even bigger than this farmer, but due to his laziness and other kind of negative way of life, he couldn't make equal money like his farmer. So always he used to have a jealous feeling on this neighbor, and particularly when people are liking him, he doesn't like him at all. He's the only person who doesn't like this positive farmer in that village. So that is the way the life was going on. So one of the harvest season, when this neighbor farmer, who is a negative person, when he was walking by, he has seen that land of the good farmer, and by seeing that, he couldn't control the jealous at all, because the crops are very well grown and they are ready for harvest. He lost his emotional control, and he couldn't control his emotions, so he did some negative thing. Okay, so he thought of spoiling the crops. So what he did, he put it on fire and he ran away. So once it was burning, then villagers found it, and all people informed that good farmer also. So all of them worked together and they put out the fire, and okay, it was in control. So the farmer analyzed that why it has happened, and by going through some facts and getting some information from the people, he understood that was done by the neighbor farmer. So many people are telling him, you have to punish him, and he should not have done that. So then, in spite of getting all this information, this good farmer keep telling them, okay, due to some emotional stage, he did this mistake. Let us forgive him this time, and if he is repeating, I will see him later if he is to be punished. That is what he told, and he just forgot that. Then again, after a few months, the son of this farmer, right, neighbor farmer, he got sick. with some peculiar disease, and nobody could help in that village. Whoever is practicing medical practice, so they tried to help, and they couldn't solve the problem at all. Then this good farmer, because being a nature of helping when somebody is sick, so he heard that in faraway place there is one special medical practitioner who is good in resolving this kind of disease. So he went all through the way on his own cart by himself, and he get the help from that medical practitioner, and he requested them, and he brought them to treat his neighbor's son. So after this happening, the son became all right, the negative farmer, right? So he was surprised with all this, and then he felt ashamed for his earlier act, and he was got a chance to discuss about this with the positive farmer, good farmer. He was talking to him. So, in spite of me doing all these things, how could you help me, and what made you to do this? So, that time he was sharing his feeling also. So, I'm just consistently doing what I am doing, and I am very clear with that. So, I didn't see any difference between you and others. So, that is the reason I could do that. So, this is what he felt. Easily we can relate this with many of the movies which we are watching, right? The hero and enemy, say hero and villain used to show the enmity all through the movie, and due to some kind of significant event which is emotionally touching the villain, and it will be totally turning, right? So they used to get some kind of emotional outburst, and then they will turn totally positive. That's what we used to see in some of the movies, right? So same thing can happen in real life also, but it will take more time, right? It will take its own time. So this farmer story also, he has to go through all this and all these events, and luckily the positive event changed him, but after many years of that negative qualities, right? So even though the common approach is working out for many of the people, but it takes its own time, right? That's what I'm trying to summarize here. So can we afford that prolonged duration when we are talking about our own the situation, right, between our self as well as the world level when we expand also. So if you are waiting for the prolonged duration, we may need to go through negative situations for a longer period, right? So that is the reason we need some kind of strong practice or strong option. So when we are talking about the stronger option, can we do something to reduce this duration to be shorter, and can we do something forcefully to change the situation? So when I'm just thinking on that part, so comparing to our SKY practices, just I wanted to raise a question here. So which SKY practice gives us equanimity? Because the equanimity is the main thing which supports to suppress the hatred, right? When we are talking about hatred, we saw in all those categories there is some indifferences, the differences between the person and the other person. So when the difference is seen on the higher level, so the equanimity is gone. So that is the reason the hatred itself is being evolved, right? So the equanimity is a positive, strong quality which can get rid of those hatred at the root itself. So which SKY practice is giving us the equanimity? Any thought? That is here. We are doing many kind of practices, right from the physical exercises, meditation, introspection, and the sublimation, and Brahmanyanam practice, which is just before the master goes, and then the master goes. So there are several practices which are being learned for our own practice, as well as to share this to others also, right? On that purpose, we are learning a lot of practices. So which particular practice gives us the equanimity? That is what I'm trying to get
You can type in
answer.
the chat box. Yeah, you can answer chat box.
Yeah. If at all you get any thought, yeah, you can share through the chat also. As Kikis are telling. Yeah, anyway, I'm not seeing any answers so far. Probably you are in a different situation. You may not be able to type or something. Okay. Yeah, I could see and reply to the meditation by Shiva Surendran. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thanks for that answer. Yeah, that's one of the point. Very good point. Turiyadita meditation. When we do that meditation, we are being connected beyond our physical self, right? So with nature, we are expanding our life force by connecting it to the nature and up to the supreme power. Up to that, we are getting connected. So that is what the answer given by Shiva Surendran as Turyadita meditation. Yeah, that is one of the good practice, of course. There is one more answer. All actions like meditation, yoga, speeches. Yeah, Mr. Prasanthan. Yeah, thank you for that answer. Yeah, all the actions like meditation, yoga, speeches, everything is giving that. That's what Mr. Prasanthan has told. Yes, both are equally right. That's what I feel, right? So the answer which is seen as Turyadita meditation or all the meditation, all the actions. So both are appearing equally right? So normally, if you see full technical analysis on all our practices, when you are talking about the Brahmanyanam practice, what that practice is giving us, gradually it's being prepared by all these meditation and introspection in a gradual paced manner. So with certain durations of that practice, we are moving ahead in our this sky practice journey, right? So when you reach to the Brahmanyanam practice, in that practice you will be able to realize the same life force, same consciousness is being shared by every one of us. It is originated from a single source, which is the total consciousness. So that is being separated as a fraction with every one of us. So we are all being connected through that total consciousness. So that is the reason everyone is to be considered as a same, and everyone has to be treated as same. So when you talk about divine quality, that is what we are seeing, right? To understand that, if you are taking a rose flower in a garden, right? So in a garden, the rose flower is on the plant. Whoever is crossing that plant will be enjoying the fragrance which is released or which is emanated from that flower, right? It is not keeping it controlled only for the person who planted me or only for the person who is regularly watering me. So it is not controlling at all. So it keeps releasing the fragrance, and whoever is passing by will be able to enjoy that fragrance. Same way, the positive quality, the divinity is existing with everyone around us, everyone in this world, right? So that is the reason we need to treat the people equally, and how to maintain that quality. That kind of understanding and that kind of practical understanding will be given to us in this practice. So I'm just trying to say that by technical analysis, we can say by attending the Brahmanyanam, we will be able to get more approach, more equanimity quality within us. That is what the technically it may say. Some may say that the sublimation is also one of the important practice, right? When you are doing all the kind of introspection practices on regular basis, so the gradually the six temperaments, like evil temperaments, will be converted to the positive qualities. So that is what we are calling that in the sublimation step, right? So if you are analyzing that again technically, some may feel that, I'm seeing another answer from seeing divine in all living and non-living. Yeah, Mr. Surendra. Yeah, thank you for that message. Yeah, so sublimation, that also some may feel that step, that practice may give us equanimity. But what I feel in general, even though the technical analysis may prove a particular practice may give equanimity, all our sky practices, even before reaching to the introspection stage. Even Brahmajanam is after introspection, sublimation is after introspection. So even before introspection, we are learning meditation. And at the time of meditation, our Guru has embedded a beautiful practice along with that meditation. Everything is added, right from the purification and the meditation part and the blessing part. Everything is included in that. So from the first step of our sky practice itself, the equanimity is being increased and hatredness will be gradually reduced. So we are being prepared from the initial practice itself to move forward strongly to the introspection stage, as well as the sublimation stage, and then the Brahmajanam and all those higher stages, right? So particularly when we talk about the first meditation itself, when we start doing it, the blessing is embedded to it, I was telling, right? So the blessing when we maintain this blessing in our meditation, particularly when after completing the meditation, like we do today after the Turyadita meditation, we all were realizing the effectiveness of the blessing, right, at the end of the meditation itself, due to the lower mental frequency and the harmonious feel between our physical body, mind, and life force. So because of that proper connectivity and with all those positive strength which we evolved during the meditation, so we are able to enjoy the blessings part effectively, right? When you do blessings, what exactly is happening? We are trying to take our near and dear ones one by one in our mental picture, and we are just positively blessing them. So when we do that, it is not only giving benefit to the person who are blessed, right, who is blessed. It starts with us. When you start the blessing itself, when you are going to bless, you became positively charged fully first, then only the blessing is being done by you, right? So once the blessing is also expressed, like mentally we are blessing that person, so it is even though it is not by word, it is spelled out. When we are mentally blessing them, the mental waves, the thought waves are doing its own job, right? That waves will be spreaded around, and then it's creating an effect with the person who is blessed. So that is the way the blessings are working, particularly that we might have seen in all our prolonged years of practice, whoever is doing it so far. After the meditation, when you are doing this part strongly with the preparedness, when there is a situation there and you want to give a special blessing to someone, and you will be blessing and you will see the benefit also. So that is the way it is working, right? So now the same technique is being used for this hatred removal also. That's what I'm trying to connect with now. So when we are looking for a stronger option to reduce the prolonged duration which we were talking, right? Otherwise also it will be removed, but with the common approach, it's going to take a prolonged duration in which we need to go through several negative experiences, right? So that is the reason this option which is given in our practice is very effective to reduce that prolonged duration. And particularly when we see the full sequence of our blessings after finishing our near and dear ones. We are also blessing about our enemies, right? So the words also very beautifully phrased by our guru when he's telling that it is not only our enemies, because people may not accept immediately, I don't have any enemies, I don't have any enemies, and I don't have that kind of feeling with anyone. That's what people used to express. So that is the reason when he's telling that blessing. Enemies are miscreants. We used to tell that, right? Miscreants in the sense, so they may do something which is against our interest, or they may have some kind of enmity feeling on us. So all those are covered in that category when we are blessing the enemies in our blessing sequence, right? So again, first time whoever is hearing this and seeing our meditation and blessing part, they used to have a question, right? How can it be practically possible, even though when we are doing a meditation and being positive mood, once we start thinking about our enemies, or when the people who gave a trouble to us, immediately the harmony will be lost. That's what the practical feeling, because of the emotional control or the previous experience with our own emotional control, we may lose our harmony, right? So that is the reason it will be very much challenging and almost practically impossible for many of the people. So that is what people used to share. But again, Maharishi is connecting another good point here. So what we get, because that is very important, right? By doing it, when we are blessing for our positive relationship, family members or whoever in close to us, we know that they will be feeling the result, and the relationship with them will improve further. So if you believe that, the same thing is happening with the enemies also. When we bless enemies, the same way the wave principle, right? Clash, reflection, refraction, and penetration and interaction. All these five are happening for all the waves, like whether it is to the close relatives or to the enemies, it is working in the same way, right? What exactly is happening? Once the thought wave is released from us, it is getting clashed with that person, and again it is getting refracted and reflected and penetrated and interacting between that two persons. So all these are happening, right? Once the wave is released, a portion of wave will do each part by its own without being any other, we need not to try at all. It is a nature, right? So that's what the wave's nature. So it will be happening without any fail. So it is when we talk about the refraction and the penetration, it is not only between that two persons who is blessing and who is being blessed. It is all around us. So whoever is in between, so that is the reason when we are trying to bless and more get excelled in this practice, we will be able to more and more positivity around us. Reason is this only. So we are continuously releasing the positive feeling up to that person, and it's being reflected and refracted with all around us. So that is the reason automatically they will feel some positive qualities which is being expressed by us. So on that basis, we will be getting rid of this unknown reasons also. We were saying one of the category, right? When we are trying to extend our helping hand, but others may have some kind of feeling between inside them, which we may not be able to realize, right? So that also will change because of this consistent practice. So that much strength our blessings are having. So this process is a stronger option. I will say that strongly. This is the better, stronger option when we compare with all the common approaches when we talk about enmity. So by doing this consistently, particularly after meditation, and particularly along with all this, the same way how we are blessing our near and dear ones, with the same feeling and same harmony, we need to bless the enemies also. So again, I was telling that earlier, right? Maharishi is giving another good connect for the people to accept it. How can I bless enemies and what I will get? It is not only creating a the positive harmony between that and around us. Along with that, it is adding another benefit also. So that is what being explained in one of the poem, Maharishi's poem, which I will share to all of you, and then I will conclude this. By seeing that poem, we will understand how beneficial it is and how strong this practice is. Your enemy is your benefactor. This is the title of the poem, which is written by our Maharishi, in which he is explaining the benefit, how enemy blessing an enemy can be a benefit for us. If only you would develop duty consciousness and learn to analyze your own shortcomings, thereafter proceeding to overcome them one by one, would you ever stoop to cast blame on others or even trace some fault away from yourself? So in this he's talking about, when we are focusing on our own duty consciousness, right? So our duty is important. With all those duty consciousness, we need to complete all our duties. Okay, by doing that, there will be some shortcomings when we interact with others. So whenever these kind of shortcomings or troubles or problems are seen, instead of blaming others, we need to get a balanced approach, and we need to see what is our fault in it, and we need to rectify and overcome them one by one and move forward. So by this approach, we will be able to see the next stanza, right? Compassion and forgiveness would become part of your being, and even the worst of adversities through an act of anyone else would not deprive you of equanimity. So by doing this sincerely, the earlier paragraphs, whatever taught to us, so the compassion and forgiveness will be increasing within ourselves due to this continuous consistent practice, and whatever the negative things happening because of others' fault or our fault or whatever be the situation, we will not lose the equanimity feeling, and we will be able to get a balanced approach to see everyone as equal and move forward by solving that conflict also. In relief, you would intone, a sin imprint of mine stands cleared here today, and I have nothing but blessings for him who helped me thus. So this is the very strong input for all of us, why we need to bless the enemies, right? We all have some kind of set of imprints which are since our birth, it is with us, which came from our parents and forefathers and up to the early living beings also. So, and also due to the activities in our own life, whatever we did, because of that also the imprints are being embedded within us, right? So those imprints have to be removed in our lifetime. Due to the pleasure or pain, we need to go through those experiences, and then only the imprints will be removed in our lifetime. So some kind of sin imprint is being removed by the person who are doing some kind of trouble or problem, who is creating problem for us. So that is the philosophy we need to understand. So when we understand that strongly and visualize that, we will be able to see that person is really helping us. He is not creating a trouble, he is helping us in removing one of the sin imprint from us. So by that strong belief, when we change our approach of seeing all our enemies, so we will be able to do this strong practice and consistently in all situations, and we will be able to have a harmonious and blissful life. With that note, I will be concluding the thought session today.